Hi guys, this is Dr. Missy Hood with the Compass and Ezekiel's Wheel. I wanted to jump on here and kind of give you guys an overview of what I think is going on right now in the nation. Um, First of all, you have to understand how warfare operates. Warfare is not like it used to be 50 years ago, or when we went to World War II, or even a Desert Storm for that matter, when we saw boots on the ground and this, like stuff like that. Warfare has changed even in the last 20 years to where now we have the lowest level of warfare is cyber warfare, psychological warfare, and they usually work hand in hand, so they're able to defeat an opponent without firing a bullet. And so, what they're trying to do, what you're seeing in the mass media right now, we're seeing two different narratives kind of be deployed, if you will. We have the white hats and the black hats. I'll depict them like that. So, we see the mainstream media being the black hats because of all the lies and trying to control the narrative and what people believe that way. And then we see things going on behind the scenes, so it's a little bit confusing to know really what's going on. So, what's going on here? What's going on? Um, what's going on right now is we're about to have mass arrest happening within our government from people trying to create a coup against the sitting president and trying to overthrow the people's will. That's what we've seen. How do we know this is true? How do we know some of this is true and what I'm telling you is true as far as two narratives going on and what can we expect, for the inauguration, blah, blah, blah. I'm not even sure the inauguration is going to happen on the 18th. I really don't know. I don't know. I think we'll know the truth about what's going to happen on the 18th, but I believe Trump's going to sit 4 more years. So, how do we know it's true? Well, Senator Ratliff, just last week, and maybe earlier this week, it's Wednesday. I think it was Friday he did this, where he shifted off all the Intel Command Center, off the FBI, the CIA, over into the Space Center Command so that they can now handle it. What's the Space Force? The Space Force, you heard of Trump creating a Space Force? That's compiled of Marines, the Marine divisions, who are now handling all of our intel from all over the world, coming on, things that are going on around the world. Why did they do that? Because we can't trust our FBI and our CIA. So they've shifted all that over first. That's one way that you know of what's going on. The second thing that's going on is that Pelosi didn't show up for work the other day. Why would she not show up for work? What's wrong? I don't know. The only thing I can really depict is that she was either meeting with the deep state or consulting an attorney trying to figure out how she should move forward. Now, we've also heard things in the news saying that Trump met with Pence. That's kind of up in the air with me because last I heard Trump was in Texas. He just gave a speech yesterday in Texas. So I doubt that the Trump-Pence thing happened. I don't know. I'm not going to doubt that, but he can't be in two places at one time. And Pompeo also had a speech on the same day that Trump had a speech. Now, why would they do that? And if you watched any of the speeches, you would have seen that both men were really kind of guarded as to how they spoke and what they spoke about. What's the art of war? You never let your enemy know what you're doing. How well do you play poker? How well, remember, word of the year, this is high stakes poker. And so it's their word against the White Hat's word. And so right now we're in the middle of warfare. Now, if your internet has been sluggish the last couple of days, like I want to say the last 2 days especially, they told us there was going to be a blackout. Okay, possibility of a blackout. Well, the Army's main objective is to have as few of the population affected as possible. We can go on about our daily lives without even knowing anything's going on. So it's a covert war that's going on right now, a covert war for power. And the last thing I found out too was that the last time a sitting president tried to confront the cabal or the deep state, they were assassinated. That would be President Kennedy. He was trying to do the right thing. The group after him, after he was assassinated, this has just made the news, by the way, a group of about 200 generals got together and they started planning. This whole plan to reinstate a godliness back into our government has been in the works for 50 years. Through 200 generals that got together after the Kennedy assassination, and they started observing the cabal and started watching all these sitting presidents after President Reagan, actually. They started observing. I think it started before, but I think some of them bowed out. But they started watching how they were getting into bed with other dictators around the world to try to create a conglomerate of thug dictators, so how they could rob the world and all these different countries of their resources and the people within those countries of their resources. That was their goal. That was their goal. And so now they hired a person, President Trump, who would come in and help them take back these resources, help them take back the sovereignties of these countries so that we could actually live in peace. and not have all these world wars and not have all these crazy things that have been happening. So this is where we're at right now. And it really is a battle between good and evil. And so I'm just going to tell you to rest easy. Rest easy right now. I don't know what's going to happen in the future except for what the prophets say, but I'm going to believe the prophets. As a matter of fact, to the power and authority of Jesus Christ, any prophetic voice that's spoken contrary to the true prophets, we command their words to fall to the ground. With Lamentations 3:37 and 38. Father, you said if God didn't speak it, it has to fall to the ground. We come into agreement with the truth. God is the way, the truth, and the life. And I agree with truth. I don't agree with fear. I don't agree with fear mongering. I agree with faith because there's no fear in love. Perfected love casts out all fear. So, Father, I release the truth right now. And I thank you, Father, that you're fixing to set your people free. I hope you guys are blessed today. Just stay the course, man. We're all walking through this thing together. We're all trying to figure out what's going on together. And so this is what I know from what I've gathered. I'm trying to give you guys updates as I gather information and trying to, and this is something else I'm going to say before I walk off here. I've noticed that other people outside of our country are getting more truth than the people inside of our country are getting, because there's some commentators outside of the country that are in different countries that are talking to some of our military people, Q people, by the way, and they're getting more in-depth information about how this is progressing and how the war is unfolding, if you will, without having boots on the ground yet. Now, if you notice too, there's 15,000 National Guard troops that have been deployed to Washington, D.C. The Washington, D.C. airspace has been cut off completely. Why has that been cut off? To keep politicians from leaving. To keep them from leaving. Because they know there's fixing to be mass arrest. And they can probably try to leave by car, but not too far. They're all being kind of confined right now. But anyway, I would be encouraged. I think we're all in for a huge surprise, a great surprise. That's why they're telling people not to go to the main cities. After this is all announced, they don't want people going into the main cities. And it's why the mainstream media is also trying to control the narrative. Another way you can kind of tell how this is progressing too is notice in the mainstream media, even though it's a bunch of lies, now you're starting to see stories. I'll say Breitbart News is a good source, so they're not they're part of mainstream media, but they're not really, they're a good resource. That they're starting to give notations about how GOPs are trying to kick Liz Cheney out as being the head chairman of a conservative committee. Why is that? Because they're all going down. They all committed treason through not trying to have an audit for the electoral votes, which would have proved that Trump truly won the election. So now they're all trying to backtrack and say, oh, no, we're not part of that. We're really for you, Trump. Too late now. It's too late to turn back now. I believe. You know the song. So it's too late. It's way too late right now. God's sake. Wrong time to do that. Because I'm on the job. I've already made my judgment. It's a year of judgment right now. So we're fixing to see the chips fall where they may. Let's continue to march together, guys. Be blessed. I'll see you tomorrow, or probably Friday on 15 Minute Rev. See you then. Bye.